Hello students, welcome once again to this video of your class 8 biology. And in the previous video we had started chapter 2, that is reproduction in plants and animals, and here we are going to learn more about the reproduction in plants and animals. Okay, so today we'll discuss these topics. We'll start with the artificial vegetative propagation. Okay, now let me tell you what is artificial vegetative propagation. See, artificial vegetative propagation is a kind of asexual method, okay, and it is a kind of propagation in which the new plants of offsprings can be made from the stems, from the roots or leaves of the mature plants. The seeds are not involved here, okay. So these are all asexual forms. Now the different artificial methods which are mostly commonly they are practiced, they are cutting, layering, grafting, tissue culture or micropropagation. Okay, so these are the four basic artificial methods of artificial vegetative propagation. See, here you can see the figures, the different processes which are you can see on the screen, the different figures here. So we can see the cutting, no? So cutting is a very common method of artificial vegetative propagation, in which what we do, a part of the stem is cut and the cut end is planted in moist soil. After some time it gives rise to roots and grows into an independent plant. Okay, and the common plants like we can practice in case of mango, in case of sugarcane, rose, these are the common plants mostly which are propagated by this method. Okay, next we can see it, layering. Can you see in the figure here, layering? So layering is it is also a very common method. In this method what we do, a portion of one of the lowest branches of the plant, okay, that swings down, that branch is bent downwards so that it touches the soil, okay, and a ring of bark is removed from the portion and that particular part is covered with the soil, and then we keep it keep it moist, sprinkle water, and then after some time or after few days maybe we can see that since that branched part is under the soil, the growth is seen, isn't it? After 2 to 3 months the roots grow out of it and the branch is then cut off and planted in moist soil, like guava, mango. Again, mango, actually many methods we apply, you know, like cutting also we use. Okay, so in layering also we can see in mango plant and all especially. Then comes grafting. See, grafting method consists of attaching or tying up, no, like two different parts, they are attached and they are tied. Like in this we two things are taken, no, you can see in the figure also, we take a part which has to be fixed, that is the scion, and that the part which is going to receive that cut part, that is the stalk. So the scion and the stalk. So what is a scion actually? Scion is a cutting of a young stem. Any part of the stem you take it, you cut it in such a way, and then it is the part of the young stem, while stalk is the base of a rooted plant's stem, okay, which receives the scion. So by this method we again tie it up and then we can see naturally the growth. So this is the grafting. Next we can see the tissue culture. Okay, so tissue culture is actually, it is also known as micropropagation. Now what we do, see, many plant tissues such as the growing ends of the roots, shoots or buds, even pieces of leaves or even single cells, they have the inherent ability to give rise to a whole new plant when grown on suitable growth or culture medium. Plant tissues, they are cultured on growth media containing various salts and nutrients, certain antibiotics are used, and plant hormones in a sterile means germ free environment. Okay, they are cultured, and this technique mostly this is known as tissue culture or micropropagation. Okay, now let's learn about the sexual reproduction in plants. Now we know that the plants, we can see both sexual and asexual as well as sexual reproduction, but the sexual, mostly we can see the sexual reproduction here, whereas in the previous, just now we discussed that those were the asexual method. Okay, now how do these takes place? Reproduction in plants takes place asexually as well as sexually, both. But the majority of the flowering plants, especially the flowering plants that bears the flowers and the fruits, they reproduce sexually. Okay, they go for sexual reproduction. They need the involvement of the gametes. Now let me tell you what are gametes. Children, gametes are the reproductive cells. Okay, so reproductive cells, like in the animals we have the sperm as the male gamete. No, the reproductive cell in the animals is the sperm, and the female gamete is the ovum or the egg. Similarly, in the plants, the male gamete is the pollen grain and the female gamete is the ovule. Okay, so these the gametes involvement is required here for sexual reproduction. The reproductive organs of plants is a flower. We know that the reproductive organ of a plant is a flower. So flower is considered as the reproductive organ. Okay, now let me tell you, you are very familiar with the flower, no? So let me tell you what is a flower actually, how to define a flower. Flower is a specialized shoot. Specialized shoot means it is the part of the shoot in which the leaves are modified into floral structures, and we can see different colors, and it is also one of the most attractive part of the plant to attract insects and other agents for pollination and all. Okay, so this is the flower. Now we'll learn about the basic structure of a flower. Okay, see, when we suppose any flower, okay, the basic parts of the flower we'll learn. A flower, every flower has got 4 whorls. Whorls means 4 segments, 4 different structures. First one is the calyx. Calyx, that is the sepals. The corolla, corolla, that is the petals. Androecium is the male part. Androecium is the male reproductive part of the flower that consists of the anther and the filament. Whereas the gynoecium consists of the female reproductive part, which consists of the stigma, style and ovary. Okay, so these are the 4 different whorls of a flower. Now here we can see the structure of a flower in longitudinal section. That is the interior view of the flower we can see, isn't it? Now let's see the different parts. Let's study what all things are here. Now you can make out the petals, that is in red color. Okay, then we can see the stalk here, we can see the sepals, that is the calyx, isn't it, the green colored part. Then petals, we can see the red colored. We can also see the stamens here, which consists of the anther and the filament. Then we see in the center part, you see, that is the pistil actually. Okay, pistil is also known as carpel. The female part is the pistil or the carpel, and this consists of a stigma, a long tube, that is the style, and the base part, the swollen part, is the ovary, and inside the ovary the ovules are there. Right now we discussed about the male gametes and the female gametes of the plants, no? So once again let's revise. The male gametes are the pollen grains, which we can see, which we can find inside the anthers. You can see here the yellow colored part, no, the anther which is attached with the filament. So when this anther they ripe, then the pollen grains are released in the air. Okay, and inside the ovary, can you see some small particles there inside? Those are the ovules. So this is the complete structure of a bisexual flower. Now let me tell you what is bisexual actually. See, bisexual flower means the flower that consists of both the sex, that is the male part as well as the female part, means both the androecium and the gynoecium is present in a flower. That is a bisexual flower. Whereas some flowers, some plants, they bear only the male part, some flower they bear only the female part. So there are different flowers of this nature. Okay, so we'll learn more in the coming classes. Let me tell you about this. Since we studied the structure of the flower, now what is the main role of the flower? What is the main role of the different parts of the flower? See, now let me tell you pollination. What is pollination, children? See, before fertilization, this pollination is very necessary. Okay, and it is a process in which the transfer of pollen grains from the anther to the stigma of one flower or another flower. So this process is known as pollination. And pollination is of two types. One is the self-pollination, the other is the cross-pollination. See, self-pollination, self means itself, okay, apne aap. So self-pollination is the transfer of pollen from the anther to the stigma of the same flower or another flower. Means flowers either on the same flower or from one flower to another flower, but the same plant, okay. So this is the self-pollination. Whereas cross-pollination involves the transfer of the pollen grains from the anthers of one plant to the stigma of a flower of another plant, okay. Two different plants, one plant, another plant. So the pollen grains of this plant will move to the stigma of the another plant, right. So this is a kind of cross pollination, okay. So this is another kind of pollination. Now you can see here the figure displayed here, you can see the self pollination as well as the cross pollination. Now in the first figure it shows the self pollination, where we can see the transfer of the pollen grains from the anther to the stigma of the same flower or another flower of the same plant, okay. And in the next figure we can see two different sides of the flowers and different, okay, and in, the transfer is taking place between the one flower to the stigma of another flower, okay, of the same kind of same species. Now after pollination, once the pollination is over, then the process of fertilization starts. Now what is fertilization? Fertilization is the process, or it is the fusion of the male gamete. What is the male gamete, children, here? In case of plants, the pollen grains, okay. What is the female gamete? The ovules. So it is a fusion of these two gametes and to form the zygote. So it is a process in which the fusion of the male gamete as well as the female gamete takes place to give rise to the zygote. Now you can see here how the pollen grains are landing on the stigma. You can see on the figure here, this is actually the structure of the gynoecium, no? The stigma, style and ovary. So the stigma is ready to receive the pollen grain. So at a time many pollen grains falls on the stigma, but the mature pollen grain, the mature one only extends, produces a pollen tube and then enters the ovary and releases the nucleus inside the ovary, and then the fusion of the male and the female nuclei takes place, okay. So we'll study more in detail in the coming classes, or in higher class you will study, okay. Now next. So this was all about the plants kingdom. We studied many things about the plants, okay, sexual reproduction as well as the sexual reproduction. Now we'll learn about the male reproductive system in animals. Reproductive system in animals we'll learn, okay. Now here, since we have been studying about both the male and the female reproductive system, so let us study here about the sexual reproduction in animals, okay. So why I am showing this figure as well as the things which are shown here, we are discussing the sexual reproduction in animals. So the sexual reproduction in animals involve two different systems, okay, the male system as well as the female system. The male reproductive system you can see right on the screen here. It consists of the different organs. We can see here the testes, one pair which is required to produce the sperms. We can see the sperm duct here, which is also known as the vas deferens, from each testis to carry the sperms. Then we can see the accessory glands, which consist of different associated the structures like seminal vesicles, the prostrate glands and other, okay, to contribute the seminal fluid and etc. Then we have a penis for transferring the sperm into the female, and then we have the urethra, which contain inside the penis, conveys the sperms received from the sperm duct. Now you can see the diagram here and then you can understand well. Now next we come to the female reproductive system. See, the female reproductive system, similarly the male reproductive system, the female reproductive system also have a pair of ovaries, whereas in the males we had a pair of testes, so in the females we have a pair of ovaries. Then in the males we had a pair of sperm ducts, no, the vas deferens, whereas in the females we have a pair of oviducts, which is also known as the fallopian tubes, to convey the egg released from the ovary. Then we have got a sac-like or a pear-shaped uterus, the structure, which is for the growth and development of the embryo that grows inside the uterus, okay, which is developed from the egg after fertilization. Then we have a vagina as well as the vulva, which is the outermost part. Now you study the structure well, okay, go through each and every part and labeling and all, because these maybe it like in the exams and all, the diagrams when they are asked to label, so you have to go through the labeling part also, okay. Now next part, see, like in the plants we studied about the pollination, the fertilization. Similarly in the animals also, when the male gamete and the female gamete, the fusion takes place, no, the transfer, the fusion takes place, then the zygote is formed, right? Now where that zygote will go, got it? So when the sperm fuses with the egg of the female, then the product, the newly product formed is the zygote. So that zygote has to be, it has to get a place to develop, okay. So just now we studied that the uterus is a sac-like structure, no, where the development of the fetus or the development of the embryo takes place. You can see here and the figure showing here, no, how the small fetus, the growing embryo is surrounded by so many layers, no, inside the uterus of the mother, okay. Now within the uterus, the baby, when the embryo grows, when the zygote divides and grows, then it becomes an embryo, okay. Then when the embryo takes the shape of a human, like, no, like all the limbs and other organs starts appearing, then that fetus, then that embryo is no more embryo now, then that embryo is known as fetus, है ना, baby नहीं बोलते हैं हम उसको, fetus बोलते हैं, okay. So inside the uterus, that fetus is surrounded by a protective sac, एक तरह का protection होता है sac, which is known as the amniotic sac, and inside this sac the fluid is present, okay, and that fluid is known as amniotic fluid, right? Amniotic sac contains amniotic fluid. Inside that amniotic fluid, the fetus is well protected, no, like it's a kind of cushion, no, एक तरह का उसको एक effect, smooth and soft effect मिलता है, cushioning, okay, protects the baby from all mechanical jerks and other sort of movements and all. Now the baby grows inside the uterus for about 9 months. So the time taken for the development, entire development of a zygote to a full grown fetus, full grown baby, is almost 9 months, which is equal to 280 days. And the period is referred to as pregnancy, okay. So we all are like our mother has given us birth, no, we have been brought to this world, okay. So similarly every mother keeps her child for 9 months in her uterus, okay, and at the end of the pregnancy, the wall of the uterus grows and goes through contractions to let the baby out, and the amnion membranes of the amniotic sac burst and the baby is pushed out through the vagina by the contraction of the uterus. So this is how the birth of the child takes place, okay. So this is a beautiful gift of God, okay, the creation, how the mother brings us into the world. Now let me discuss in brief about the menstrual cycle and menopause, since this topic is there in your syllabus. So we'll learn in brief here what is menstrual cycle and menopause. See children, when the ovaries, they release the egg, okay. So when the ovaries of the female reproductive system, the ovaries, they release the egg, that egg is picked up by the fallopian tube, okay. That egg is sent to the fallopian tube, and there the egg waits for fusion, for fertilization. But if the egg fails to fertilize, then what happens, it goes and wants to get fixed in the uterine wall. वो जो egg है, it moves and wants to get fixed in the uterine wall. But due to when it fails to get implanted, then it sheds out in the form of bleeding. So that is known as menstruation. So if the ovum is not fertilized, it is thrown out through the vagina together with the lining of the uterus and blood, and this process is known as menstruation. The whole process of ovulation. Ovulation is the process of releasing the egg. Ovulation is the process of releasing the egg. So the whole process of ovulation, thickening of the uterine lining, and the menstruation is called the menstrual cycle. And it is usually a 28-day cycle. Menstruation stops when a woman is around 45 to 50 years, and this period is known as menopause. So these terms were there in your chapter, and please learn it well. Go through all the terms, go through all the parts which are explained, and all the previous video also you relate with them, okay, and then all the topics together you learn, you revise, and then you'll understand better, okay. And in case of any query, you feel free to ask me. You have my contact number, and then you can ask your doubts, okay. So thank you for watching, and keep learning and keep growing.